Oh my goodness, it's so moist in here. It feels like I'm inside a chocolate cake.
Hello, everybody. It's time for another reading of Friendship is Tragic, and I haven't read this in probably 3 or 4 months. So, excuse me if I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't read in about a month either, so it's time to read. Rainbow, is that all true? Twilight stood up to hug her mourning friend. Rainbow laughed and casually wiped a tear from her face, hoping no one noticed. Of course it is, Twilight. I bet you kicked that dumb old coke's butt with your awesome kung fu moves. Apple Bloom had apparently woken up at some point during Rainbow's story. Applejack spoke up, patting Apple Bloom's head. You didn't leave anything out this time, did ya? Rainbow cowered down, letting her mane fall into her face. No, I'm sorry I did before. Aw, Dash, I was only joking. Come here, I'm not mad at you. Applejack was more than surprised at Rainbow's sudden change in personality. Twilight seemed to recognize this phenomena. I think I read about this somewhere. When a Pegasus goes through a very traumatic experience, they can often become more timid and passive, even though they're normally competitive and assertive. It's been recorded in severe cases that they even stop speaking at all. Well, I'm glad our Dashie got her at least most of herself all together. Applejack threw her arm around her moping friend. Well, I agree completely. Also, I'm getting cold, and I think I hear a bug. Let's go back home, guys. Rarity decided she had endured the outdoors long enough. The ponies all packed their things back up while Rarity called for the carriage. It seemed the four ponies had lost track of time while Rainbow shared her past with her curious friends. The moon was nearly directly above them, indicating it was approximately midnight. Upon arriving back at Applejack's home, they were each given a spare room. Rarity and Twilight chose to share one. Hey, Rarity, I'm going to go out for some air, alright? Rarity was already in bed, more than ready for some sleep. Okay, hurry back, sweetheart. I'll be waiting. Rarity blew her a kiss and collapsed into a deep sleep. Twilight smiled and took a moment to enjoy the sight of her newfound love laying quite peacefully. She walked up to her and gave her a warm kiss on the cheek, and then trotted out the door. Twilight couldn't take her mind off Fluttershy's home. There were still unanswered questions waiting to be resolved. However, she feared her friends wouldn't be able to understand, much less accept these answers. So she trotted off towards Ponyville on her own, disappearing into the night. Twilight soon found herself entering the tattered ruins of her old friend's home. It was too dark to see inside now, so she cast a spell, creating a small orb of light from the tip of her horn, making sure to keep it dim enough not to attract any unwanted attention. She heard a noise coming from upstairs. This time it caused her to jump. Twilight was a bit nervous. But she forced herself to calm down to continue her exploration. She slowly walked up the stairs. Each plank seemed to shriek in agony as she continued up the stairs. The door was locked. Horror struck Twilight. She knew earlier today the door was left wide open. Every logical soul in her body told her to run away, but curiosity overwhelmed her cautiousness. Twilight tapped on the door. Fluttershy? No response. Twilight jiggled the handle and it came loose, and then a low-pitched groaning came from the other side of the door. Her mane stood straight up and she covered her mouth with her hooves to keep from screaming. Okay, Twilight, calm down. Calm down. There's a logical explanation of the wind. It's just the wind. Twilight calmed herself. She pushed the door open and peeked inside. It was the same way as she had left it. She walked in to further investigate. The picture was gone, but the broken glass was still there. Her heart was racing. Twilight looked up into the closet, and light from her horn still left the gaping hole pitch black. She shot an orb into the hole. The darkness seemed to consume nearly all the light. Another noise. It was coming from the attic. Twilight decided that she had no choice. She climbed through the hole. She was immediately met by an unbearable stench. Small dead animals littered the floor, most of them rotting. Twilight looked around. Dust clouded the air, and it was too dark to see anything. She brightened her horn, but the thick dust prevented her from seeing very far. Fluttershy? Twilight heard a sobbing sound coming from the corner. She shined her light in the direction. Through the dust, she spotted a pair of eyes reflecting her bright blue. With a quick flutter, they disappeared behind a thick wall of dust. Twilight decided to swallow her fears and investigate. As the dust settled, Twilight saw a heart-shattering scene. She felt as if she had swallowed her heart and tongue as she looked upon her missing friend. Fluttershy was holding the lifeless body of her beloved pet rabbit, Angel. She rocked it back and forth in an attempt to comfort it. "Hush now, little one. If you ever want to get better, you'll need to sleep." She patted her pet down gently on its pet bed and reached over to pick up the mostly decaying bird. "Well, aren't you looking good today, Mr. Finchy? Let's work on grooming those messy feathers of yours." Twilight was for the first time in her life at a loss for words. All she could do was cry and watch as Fluttershy desperately tended to these long since deceased animals. Twilight walked up to Fluttershy. She noticed that she seemed to be starving. Her ribs were clearly visible. She lowered Fluttershy's hoof and gently hugged her. Twilight felt her rapidly pulsing heart, and she felt her own sink into her chest. "Hey, Fluttershy, would you come back to me to Fluttershy's house, please?" Twilight wasn't sure how to talk to or handle Fluttershy in her current state. "Oh no, Twilight, I can't. I have a lot of sick animals to take care of. Speaking of which, Angel Bunny, you need to take this medicine if you ever want to get better." Twilight put a hoof on Fluttershy's face, turning her to make eye contact. Fluttershy seemed to look straight through Twilight, not actually making eye contact. Twilight saw huge bags under her eyes, as if she hadn't been sleeping for days. Once again, Twilight found herself covering her nose due to the repulsive stench. "Fluttershy, we need to go right now." Twilight could hardly stand the odor any longer. "I can't. I told you, Twilight." Twilight put her hoof around Fluttershy, urging her toward the exit. Fluttershy resisted, and when Twilight didn't give up, she began to panic. She flapped her wings, kicking up all the dust around them, and then quickly disappeared into another corner. "You need help. If you won't come along, I'll force you out. It's for your own good." Twilight wrapped Fluttershy in a veil of purple magic, lifting her into the air. She led her through the hole in the closet. They were back in Fluttershy's room, and Twilight could at least stand to breathe. Once again, Twilight heard a terrifying deep groaning. "Fluttershy, what is that?" "Oh, that's just Gummy. I think he still has a bellyache. You know, he has trouble chewing his food, and he doesn't play nice with other animals, so he's down here by himself every day. I bet he's lonely." Fluttershy seemed genuinely concerned about his feelings. Twilight peeked through her bed. Two purple eyes met hers, accompanied by a low growl. Twilight gulped. "He's huge. When did this happen?" Gummy crawled out from under the bed. He was much longer than Twilight. His thick tail whipped the floorboards as he allowed his massive mouth to slowly open. Jagged teeth appeared to randomly be placed along his jawline. "Fluttershy, when did Gummy get teeth?" "Well, I gave him teeth so he could choose food. He was getting really sick and needed more solids." "You gave him teeth? I don't even—" "Fluttershy, please come with me. You're sick, and you need to be taken care of. You need to take care of yourself right now." "I'm going to do everything I can to help." "I feel fine, Twilight, but if you say so, I'll go with you for just a little while. But I can't stay too long." They walked downstairs, then outside. Twilight took a deep breath, enjoying the crisp night air. Fluttershy immediately sobbing and begging Twilight to let her back inside. Gummy retreated back under the bed. "Twilight, I really need to stay here. I can't leave these little pets alone." "Come on, you." Twilight was becoming impatient, probably due to the long day and the lack of sleep. The two soon arrived back at Applejack's home. Everyone was already asleep, so Twilight led Fluttershy to an empty room and welcomed her to get some sleep. It didn't take long for Fluttershy to doze off. She seemed exhausted due to her frantic caretaking. Twilight wasn't quite sure if she should leave Twilight wasn't sure if she should leave Fluttershy alone. But soon, the sweet beckoning call of Rarity's warmth in bed got the better of Twilight's judgment. She crawled into bed and wrapped her arms around her warm partner, cuddling up close. In the morning, the six sat in the living room. Fluttershy had freshly showered and was smelling much better now. She was eating some warm apple strips for breakfast. Celestia knows she needed it. The ponies all gathered around, listening to Twilight to what she had to say. Despite all the obvious problems in her life, Fluttershy wanted only to return to her animals, not only to take her mind off the overwhelming guilt, but to escape the judgment of her friends, as far as they were concerned, that was not an option. I really need to get back to Angel. He's been really sick lately. The others too. Fluttershy looked down onto the floor, hoping the others would simply let her go. I'm not sure how to tell you this, or why you can't tell, but Angel's dead, Fluttershy. All those animals in the attic are dead. Fluttershy knew that this was true, but refused to believe it until now. She stopped and thought about the fact for a minute. Unbearable mental anguish filled her thoughts. Her heart seemed to have stopped beating. I know you're right, Twilight. You're right about everything. You always are. I just needed to keep taking care of them. I was so lonely there. Why didn't you come to us sooner? Any of us could have gladly given you help. I just couldn't, Twilight. I couldn't even stand to look up at any of you. I saw you all fighting and crying, and it was all because of me. Because of you? It didn't have to do anything with you. Why would you say that? I couldn't make myself tell you. I didn't want you to hate me, so I just hid in my house and pretended I sold it and moved. Fluttershy was sniffling and sobbing like she had never had before. She was lost in her own depression. Can I please just go? I don't belong here. No, Fluttershy, you can't. You have nowhere to go. Your house is in no condition for any pony to live in there. And that disgusting attic is going to get you killed. Who knows what kind of diseases are floating around in the foul air. What you need is our help. We're all here to give it to you now. But first, you need to trust us that we love you and are really here for you no matter what you think has happened. What she really needs are some crazy pills. Rainbow attempted to lighten the mood with a joke. That's kind of fucked up. Rainbow, you're not helping, Twilight scorned off. Color humor? Jeez, fine, jeez. You know, I was just joking, right, Shy? I know, Fluttershy replied under her breath. I'm sorry, I'm not reading as well today. Allergies, man, they're horrible. There's only, just gotta go to a quick little thing about me. There's these little things, not little, there's these yellow bushes. I don't know if they only grow up where I'm at, but there's these yellow bushes, and they're green, and they have, like, long things. I don't know what to call them. Anyways, when it's around this time of year, they start to bloom, and they give up a really pungent aroma, and it really F's over my sinuses in this. There's one, like, across the street, and it's just making me feel terrible. Rainbow, you're not helping. Gee, sorry, okay. I know, Fluttershy replied under her breath. Rainbow Dash approached her. She wrapped her wings around her and warmly comforted the sniffling pony. Everything's going to be fine. Now tell us what happened to you. We're your friends. We only want to help you. We all love you. Rainbow Dash displayed a rare glimpse of her compassion, something she could only rarely show. Thanks, but you really shouldn't love me. I don't deserve it. Of course you do, darling. I can't do a rarity voice. It's so hard. Or I need my brother over here. Why would you even say that? Rarity joined in the comforting hug. I... Fluttershy was interrupted by her own uncontrollable crying. Twilight and Applejack both rushed to her side, doing their parts to comfort the more distressed Pegasus. Asked Rainbow, there's nothing you can say that would shock us now, and we'll never stop loving you, no matter what you have to say. Twilight attempted to speak lightheartedly, but her voice reflected her sadness. Seeing her sweet, innocent friend in shambles like this was all too much to take. You see, well, Fluttershy stumbled around on her own words, speaking in a less than audible tone. Just say it, Shy. We won't judge you. Tell us what got you so worked up. I killed Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy blurted out. I was helping her with Gummy when I saw her in the balloon, so I went to go talk to her and tell her what was wrong, and she got mad at me. But I was already mad at her, so we started fighting. She yelled at me, and I just snapped. I lost control of my body, and I killed her. Rainbow let go and took a few steps, tears welling up in her eyes. You what? Before she could reply, she ran outside and flew away. Rainbow, wait! Twilight chased after her, but it was no way to stop her. She headed back in to talk to Flutter. You misspelled Fluttershy, dear sir, or madam. You put Fluttershy and figure out exactly what she was saying. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving now. You can tell Rainbow Dash that she can come back in. I wouldn't want to be around me either. Fluttershy, stop it. Rainbow is just upset. Honestly, we all are. We never expected you to say something like that. Now come here. Twilight hugged her sobbing friend. If you know something about Pinky's death that we don't, you need to tell us. Okay, I'll tell you everything. I just couldn't bring myself to do it before. I couldn't even stand to look at you guys. You were all so sad, and it was because of me. That is what I hid. No more hiding. We're all here for you. I'm sure Rainbow will be coming up back soon enough. The three ponies sat around Fluttershy as she went to tell the truth. A truth that none of them ever wanted to hear. That's my reading for today. I'm just going to put in a quick little plug. Not really a plug. Just kidding. Forget that. I want you guys to watch a video, and I want you to write in the comments what you think about it. There's a video you can watch. It's pony related. It's called Derp She Is, and if you haven't watched it, go watch it. And if you have watched it but didn't watch the series that actually came from, please go watch it and tell me what you think. I really think it's a well directed little animation, and I think you should watch it. It'll give you an experience. It sure as hell gave me an experience, and I don't even like that kind of stuff. Well, I do, but it had a big impact on my life. Down here in my chesticle area, where my heart should be. Alright, so go watch that. It's called There She Is. I feel that it should do it more justice if you watched it in the parts and not the 25-minute version. It does more justice because when you switch the videos, you kind of feel like you know the characters more and you want to know more about them, instead of just letting the video roll by. So, if you do it, just tell me in the comments how it, made you feel and whatnot, or what you thought about it. Okay, thank you, people, and goodbye. It's been a tiresome day. I have a marathon to run tomorrow. So bye.